Welcome, everyone, to our monthly virtual interactive conference. I'm your host, Emmanuel Barbie. I'm the founder, president, and CEO of the Grassroots Community Activist Movement. We host our monthly virtual interactive conference every last Saturday of the month. Join us in this virtual interactive conference. On this platform, we're genuine, sincere, transparent, and authentic. Special shout out to those who are on my panel that's putting their reputation on the line. Why do we host monthly virtual interactive conference every last Saturday of the month? Because we are trying to raise funds for our film project. This is the most important presentation of the year. So, ladies and gentlemen, please listen up. Before I jump into my presentation, I want to show all of my listeners what's been happening with our cause in real time through these slides. Since January of this year, I have been doing my best to raise funds for our film project, and now we're in June of 2025, and still no donations at all. That's not cool, family. You can't say I haven't tried because I document everything by doing this presentation. My critics have the nerve to ask me, what is taking me so long to get my Christian business up and running? I flip the script and I ask them, have they purchased my revised book? They say no. I ask them, have they purchased any items from my virtual store? They say no. I ask them, have they donated to our film project? They say no. Then what the hell you expect? The white man is not stopping Black Americans from buying my book. The white man is not stopping Black Americans from buying items from my virtual store. The white man is not stopping Black Americans from donating to our film project. That's a personal choice. That's Willie Lynch in real time, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to waste another 33 years trying to reach out to Black Americans that don't care. A majority of Black Americans have been Americanized, entitled, and develop a narcissist attitude. Nowadays, it's every Black person for themselves. Now, I reached out to people, I would say, from the faith community here in the city of Chicago. And all they have done was give me a pat on the back and say, keep up the good work. I reached out to Black organizations here in the city of Chicago. Majority of them, was like, kind of the attitude that I picked up from them is, I got mine, you get yours. I reached out to the conscious community from people that have a pretty large, I would say, platform. I reached out to Philip Scott, founder and CEO of the African Diaspora News Channel. Now, I like his content, and I display that a lot of his videos and stuff on my Medium transcript because it's some really good stuff. It's the same type of things that I talk about over here. But yes, I sent him an email, no message, no response. Um, I reached out to brother Tyreek Nasheed. He created a Hidden Colors series. He's also credited for starting the delineation movement known as FBA, Foundational Black American. Um, but he hasn't returned none of my emails as well. I reached out to Professor Black Truth. I haven't heard back from him at all. I reached out to Vicky Diller, and I haven't heard from her as well. And so, that's discouraging. Uh, I was trying to build a quote unquote little coalition with our brothers and sisters that's from the Black grassroots like myself, for us to try to work together, for us to move from behind the computer. We all saying the same messages, but it's just in different ways. I call for separation from off-code Negroes over here and con artists and urban terrorists and hardened criminals and pedophiles and degenerates, but it is what it is. A majority of Black Chicagoans that I spoke with on the streets in real life told me that they're not interested. And basically, what I get from that is they want to see something concrete. They want to see it manifest. They don't want to just hear things. I let them know that, hey, I'm not running for public office. I just tell them to read my story. That's why I wrote the book. I wrote the book because I'm trying to sell my idea. I created my virtual store because I'm trying to generate capital to be in a better position so I can hire people to help me run this stuff. But right now, it's just me and Sister Renee. Very frustrating, but hey, it is what it is. I have been paying out of pocket for my business title since 2010, wasting money. I pay the city, state, and the IRS every year. This is why my film project is so important. And this is my last attempt to try to build something positive for my racial group, Black Americans, before I cut and run to Africa. At this stage in the game, we're only focusing on Chicago. I want to do this film to let the Black masses and the Black world know who we are and what we're trying to do for our people that's trapped in American ghettos, specifically Chicago. My focus here on out is to connect with like-minded Black Americans beyond Chicago, like-minded African immigrants within the United States of America, and the global African family who reside in Canada, Europe, Latin America, the Caribbean, and across the African continent. All I want you to do for me is just read my story. I don't want to die in America or get bogged down with Black American issues. Instead, I want to turn my business over to my management team once I have them in place and expand the business to South Africa. Like it or not, I have been called to create the best African American business within the United States of America, specifically in Chicago. And that is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. GRCAM members will consist of like-minded Black Americans and like-minded African immigrants from 10 African nations who will help us build this business for credibility. Those African immigrants will come from the following African nations: South Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Uganda, Angola, Liberia, Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria. I understand that you all are here to live your American dream, and that's fine. Over here, we're not going to do all that marching and protesting. We're not about that. Just as long as you're legal, we're good. All I want you to do for me is please purchase my revised book because I am unable to reach Black Americans due to this slave mentality. Now, mark my words. Once we get, I'm gonna say this film project fully funded and made, that's gonna put me in a better position financially, so that way I can hire qualified Black middle class professionals, qualified African immigrants, um, purchase property here in the city of Chicago, buy office equipment, and once it materialized, we're going to do all the stuff that I have written in my revised book. My revised book is the foundation of my business. The name of my story is called, quote, The Solution for Black America, Reclaiming, Rebuilding, and Restoring the Urban Ghettos in America, second edition. It's available in two forms, either as an ebook for $9.99 or as a softcover book for $15 plus shipping and handling. You agree with my vision and plan to help improve Black America, then you automatically will become a GRCAM member. Um, I want to make sure before I go to Africa that I'm going to be able to sustain myself in Africa. I want to make sure that the business is going to be able to function without me having to be present. And I want to make sure that Sister Renee will be well taken care of because she has been working with me behind the scenes for the past 13 years. I wish I had more people like her, you know, in Chicago that's working with me. Actually, she came from Wisconsin, from another state. She read my first book and she said, "Hey, she was down with the program." That's why I wrote the book because I'm trying to recruit brave and smart people. Um, so what we would do for her, we we're gonna dedicate a local chapter in honor of her in West Memphis, Arkansas. I would turn the business over to my management team, and then I would go to South Africa. I would lead by example, like Marcus Garvey, because he never went to Africa. He went to Europe, and he ended up dying in Europe. Unfortunate. But I want to prove to Native Africans that I mean business. So I want to go over there. I want to apply for dual citizenship. I want to set up a local chapter, the Kai of South Africa, and I want to shoot my second film or the sequel, African Liberator, Battle Against the Colonized Mindset. First, we got to get our first film up and running and out there, and that is, quote, Hood Liberator, made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins. This is a solution-based docudrama based on my life experience growing up in Chicago and the purpose why I created the grassroots community activist movement and all of the trials and tribulations I went through in order to get it to materialize. Those that, like I say, work with me and Sister Renee, especially get behind this film project, will go down in history with us. This is our Black Panther moment, except it's not owned by Disney, it's owned by GRCAM members. We're using crowdfunding such as GoFundMe and PayPal giving funds so that everyone would know exactly where the money will be going. Our objective is to raise $250,000. Those donations will help with our marketing campaign, production, and legal expenses to make sure that this docudrama is going to be quality material. Because I'm not trying to just make a drama, just to make something and it's a flop. That's why I need all hands on deck. And I really need those of you that's listening to become CAM members. Read my story first and see what I'm all about. Everything that's I wrote in that book, we're going to carry that out to the fullest. And that's only half of my knowledge. I didn't put everything what I'm about. If you are a U.S. citizen, then I recommend that you use our PayPal Giving Fund page because you can use that as a tax write-off because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit faith-based and community advocacy organization. I want to bring the American energy over to South Africa and provide jobs for Black South Africans so they can feed their families. And I want to be able to, um, for us to learn how to work together. Actually, we're going to replicate what we do here in Chicago, from GRCAM, Chicago, and bring it over to South Africa and get it established there, replicate it so it can expand to 9 other African nations once we get our foot in South Africa. We also want to help improve the South African economy. It's what I'm all about. This is what I'm called to do. For it is God who worketh in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. Philippians, oh, sorry, tongue twisted. Philippians 2nd chapter, verse 13. The question is, why is there so much pushback? Not from white America, but from Black America. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is spiritual warfare in real time. And before I go any further, let's look at the evidence I have. I'm going to bring up it's the article called A Zoom Call of 44,000 Black Women Raised 1.5 million for Kamala Harris in 3 hours. We were ready, coming from Future Magazine. Our second source it would be from Medium, from the Guardian. It's called Medium Wealth of Black Americans will fall to zero by 2053. Warning of a Newport from the Guardian. Then number 3, we're going to touch on ABC News National Exit Poll, election 2024 results. We're going to look under where it says sex by gender. Black women, 92%. You know, they're proud that they went out there and voted for Kamala Harris. But the woman didn't do anything for African American community. Now, women would use that same energy, get behind this film project. We can make an impact, starting in Chicago, because I don't want to waste any more. I put in 33 years. I don't, that's how come I'm just saying enough is enough. This is why I'm reaching out to African immigrants, because I know that once I'm able to connect with brave and smart African Americans or African immigrants, either or, and we able to get this film project fully funded and made, then I would be in a better position to hire people and do all the stuff that I keep talking about. Black men voted 77%. So I'm glad they're getting where the brothers are getting off of that Democrat plantation. Because if Kamala Harris, if she would have won, she would have left those borders open. And that would wipe out the Black community within one generation. When the let's say Black Chicago will be just like it is in California now. Black population in California is only 6%. And that means that the Black vote is neutralized. That means it's worthless because it's all about majority rule, majority votes. This is what I've been telling Black Americans, not only, in real life. I wrote about that. I predicted, I would say, illegal immigration in my revised book. And I said But the Latino community, they're going to fight like hell for their people to become citizens. I mean, that's what groups do. Groups hire their own people. Everybody except Black people. Here I am trying 33 years, y'all, trying to get this business up and running. I just want to make sure I got brave and smart people that's going to help me run it. Very frustrating. But I'm just using my platform. It's all I have left, my platform. And some of my critics have a nerve to say I'm just trying to make money. Well, if that was the case, I would have written many books. I'm standing on one book, and that's my revised book. And I'm standing on all that stuff, trying to raise the bar. That's what I'm about. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and um, drop some receipts for you all, so you'll know that I'm, I'm backing up what I'm saying. Uh, bear with me. Okay, let's see. All right, so I should be pulling up, yeah, the article of Kamala Harris. Do y'all see that from Fortune magazine? Again, the sisters, that's nice what they done. 44,000 Black women on Zoom raised $1.5 million for Kamala, Kamala Harris in 3 hours. We were ready. It's been 33 years. I've been doing all I have is my revised book, my virtual store, this film project now. That's all I have. This is to help our people. This is why my business is going to be membership based. I want to make sure none of my members have to go through this type of foolishness. I'm trying to bring this stuff to the inner city so you don't have to turn to life a crime because Black Americans isn't working together to help create jobs for them. That they have to sit up here and become drug dealers and um, breaking in people's cars and houses, being a career criminal. That's not cool at all. And I'm from the community. So all the people from the hood is not like that. And that's how come I want to share my story. Trying to do something, but it's just so much pushback. And again, I don't want to be doing this another 33 years. Get this thing popping here in Chicago for credibility so I can bring it over to the African continent, work with Africans that want more out of life. Those that ain't part of us, we'll pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. Because life is too short. I want to make sure none of my members have to go through this kind of stuff. This is not cool at all. It's ridiculous, and it's a turnoff. So it says, about Kamala Harris. All right, we're going to go to the next one. Um, let's look at the election. Okay, this is coming from NBC News. Uh, this is what black women, this is my cursor right here, you all, where it says black women, 92%. And right above that, black men, 77%. But anyway, like I say, black women would use that same energy like they did they raised 1 million. All I'm trying to raise is 250,000. Trying to, yes, it's gonna be low budget, but hey, it is what it is. But I want it to be a quality film. And I want to hire a production company. But I'm still gonna be in charge of that because this is my story. So I'm gonna hire them with the money I raise because I want, quality actors and a legitimate production company. But I'm gonna be out there as well as the um, director and also as the producer. But again, I am gonna hire a professional production company to make sure that because this will be my first film project, and just to make sure that this thing is gonna fly, that it's gonna make it in. We're gonna have it in selected movie theaters and also a streaming service. I want to so people can download it, give people that's overseas an opportunity to watch the film too, because we want to make quality films. That's what GRCAM Chicago is going to be about, and give our youth an opportunity to use their talents and skills, as well as our, I would say, Black musicians and African musicians, an opportunity, to be for them to play their songs, for them to get no notoriety, anyway, to get well known and to get exposure um, to the diaspora through the films, and also for them to also play a role in the film as well. So that's how we're gonna do over here. Um, all right, so let's see. I'm gonna look at this. This is the Guardian. Now they predict the median wealth of Black Americans will fall to zero by 2053. I say 2040. So that's going to be like a 10-year, it's like a 10-year difference. Either way it goes, we're both saying the same. What the Guardian is saying and what I am saying is something's going to happen. So this is why it's very important that Black Americans that's listening to me, that's on my friends list, please work with me because I care about our youth. These white supremacist financial elites do not, they don't have no love for our children. They care more about animals than about Black children. That's why they're giving us a hard time about us getting our reparations and all this off-code behavior is really destroying Black America big time. Because a lot of our politicians, this is what I talk about in the book, is in the pockets of the white supremacist financial elites. They don't have any allegiance to us. But you don't want to listen to me. And then when things get real, like what's going on now with this illegal immigration stuff, I mean, those people broke the law. I mean, doggone it. Yeah, you feel sorry for them, but doggone it, they chose to do that. Even if you came over here and you got a job, you're not committing crimes, you still committed a crime by being illegal. So yes, all they doing is sending them back. I mean, so yeah, I encourage my listeners that if you're a Black American or African immigrants, Afro Caribbean, just leave that alone. Don't go out there marching and protesting. That's not our fight. Let them have their community. I mean, their people. It's gonna fight for them, but overall, um, that's a losing battle because they broke the law. Bottom line, and they're not killing them. They're just returning them back to their homeland. Just do it the right way. That's all people are asking you to do. I don't have nothing to against immigrants. That's why I'm reaching out to African immigrants. So that's where I stand on that. All righty. So let's see. Gonna look at yes, my wise book, which is the foundation of my business. Again, the book, I try to keep it reasonable. The Kindle, you can download it to your smartphone if you got a good smartphone and read it. $9.99. And the paperback, $15 plus shipping and handling. I try to keep stuff as reasonable as possible because I have to pay Amazon. This stuff is not free. I have to pay for them to advertise my book on their site. Everything is, it's a cost. Again, I want to be effective. That's why I want brave and smart people that's going to be on my team that know how to do things so we can get stuff done. Instead of sitting up here marching and protesting, begging descendants of slave owners for freedom, justice, and equality. That's how come they laugh and take Black Americans as a joke. Those people don't want us to be free. All I'm trying to do is just get the thing up and running here so I can expand it over to the African continent because the battle is not for America. The battle is for the African continents. All righty, and let's see. Uh, Now I'm gonna see if I can find. All right, here it is. And go up some. This is our GoFundMe page. And since this year, January 2025, and here we are in June 2025, and still no donations at all. This is what's taking me so long. Ladies and gentlemen, the white supremacist financial elite is not going to fund this film project, not going to help fund this type of business because this is going to help Americans help clean up house, to solve those issues that's going on, all that dysfunction, all of that being disorganized. We're going to raise that bar, separate ourselves from off code Negroes, and that's real. So I disagree with brother Tariq Nasheed. He focused on the I'm gonna say African immigrants and Afro Caribbeans that come over here, not the ones that's dissing Black Americans. He calls them tethers, and he has beef with them. I understand what he's saying, but over here, I I have beef with our own domestic. We have domestic coons that was on those plantations, And once we got off those plantations, they still left with us. They're in our families. That's the tough part about that. And I got a lot of, I would say, family members that's affected by this slave mentality. So I just try to be respectful. I don't hang around those type of people, but I just try to be respectful. I don't want to deal with those type of people because they have they want to be on that Democrat plantation and all that stuff. They think that's going to help them, but they don't realize that that's keeping us in poverty. Over here, you're free to serve God, willing, I mean, that's a personal choice. Over here, we're going to have balance. We're not going to just focus on the pie in the sky. I want to give our Black youth, African youth, an opportunity to put money in their pockets. But I want to make sure I'm in a position to do that. Can't do that right now if I'm not unable to get my business up and running. That's why I say I want to create the best African American business within the United States for credibility. Because ain't no con artist going to be in my business on my watch. That's why we're going to have some technology. So we can weed out those type of people and keep tabs on who's doing what in the business. Ain't no freeloaders over here. Like what's going on with me right now. For example, I have 10,000 followers on LinkedIn alone. Well, what's the good of having 10,000 followers if I don't have any donations for my film project? And my book has been on Amazon for 13 years, still barely selling. So that's right there. A lot of people online just want to be seen, just like in my groups. That's okay. It is what it is. But I know one thing for sure. I'm doing the best that I can within my power. Again, God give us free will. And it is what it is. It was up to me, everybody that I interact with on my on this platform would be on board. Because I ain't doing nothing wrong. Help our people, that's all. Be able to pass the business down to the next generation. That's all I'm trying to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, the name of this presentation is GRCAM versus Pan-Africanism. Which path will lead to Black economic empowerment? Reparation is our last fight in America, and it has opened up the opportunity for Black Americans. Our grandparents fought and died for civil rights. It also opened doors for all these other groups to come into this country. Now, these new groups are coming over here with hostility towards Black Americans because many of them already had those attitudes in their homeland, specifically Latin America. Some of them think they're better than Black Americans. Some of them claim we're lazy and that we don't have a culture. Some have teamed up with the white supremacist gangs to harm Black Americans. But since Black Americans have started to delineate from all these other groups and we're beginning to gatekeep our own culture again, now they're coming around and we're not coming out in the streets to march and protest. Now, all of a sudden, these groups are asking, where is Black people? They tried to shame us into coming out. in the streets again and fight for them. Like I say, that ain't happening, especially under the fight for some illegal immigration. You broke the law. So, you have to deal with that. Um, all over the world, they have laws about immigration. So, if you come over illegal, you're just gonna have to pay the consequences. That's all I can say. What is Pan Africanism? From what I was taught, Pan Africanism is a nationalist movement that aims to encourage and strengthen bonds of solidarity between diasporas of African and um, African ancestry, based on a common goal dating back to the Atlantic slave trade and the Arab slave trade and slavery in Cape I guess Cape Town colonies in South Africa. Pan Africanism has its origins in the struggle for African people against enslavement and colonization. It is based on the belief that unity is vital for economic, social, and political progress. It aims to unify and uplift people of African ancestry. At its core, Pan Africanism is a belief that African people, both on the continent and in the diaspora, share a common history and a common destiny. Pan Africanism influenced Malcolm X to establish the Organization of African Unity. Pan Africanism believed that solidarity will enable the continent to return back to Africa's golden age and reclaim our natural resources from the white supremacist financial elites. The internet have facilitated the growth of Pan-Africanism by exposing African people and Black people across the diaspora. The ability to connect with people thousands of miles away has allowed these platforms to become places where people across the globe to reconnect and promote an African agenda, which allowed users a platform to grapple with a vision of widespread African interaction throughout the continent. Nigerian artist Burna Boy guiding philosophy is Pan Africanism. He believes in rebuilding bridges with the African diaspora, viewing Africa as the mother continent and birthplace of humankind. The intersection between the digital media revolution and Pan Africanism has also had an impact for the education sector. Pan African organizations have used the internet and digital media to produce educational content to improve lectures outcomes across the continent. The most popular is, just bear with me, y'all, 'cause I don't know how to pronounce some of these names, but Ubongo, which is Africa's largest manufacturer of educational content for children and youth, shows to help Africa's youth improve literacy outcomes. The result have been widespread with Ubongo, claiming that 24 million children have displayed enhanced learning outcome and a study in Tanzania finding an associate between improving mathematics skills in children consuming Ubongo's content. The negative side of Pan-Africanism. Pan-Africanism has been accused of being a movement of the African educated bougie class, which doesn't concern itself with the interests of ordinary Africans. Kwame, I don't know how to pronounce his, last name, so forgive me for that. The former president of Ghana viewed Pan-Africanism with suspicious. Most independent African countries oppose Kwame's goal for a political unified Africa because they viewed it as a threat to their national sovereignty. For me, the main problem of Pan Africanism is the failure to protect Africa's natural resources from Western nations. Solidarity in the name of Pan Africanism has cast a negative light on African dictators from corrupt corruption to genocide. Another criticism of Pan Africanism is that they place too much emphasis on superficial, monolithic terms like Africa or Black identity while ignoring complex ethno religious differences and conflicts that exist among Africans. I identify myself as DAS, descendants of American slaves slash freedmen. It refers to enslaved Africans who were forcefully brought to the New World, which became the United States of America because our ancestors helped build it under distress, though, and under the gun and whip. These men, women, and children endured unimaginable suffering and dehumanization, yet they built the economic, cultural, and social foundation of North America. That is not just a label, it's a recognition of a unique lineage, a story of resilience against a system called white supremacy. To be a descendant of American slaves is to stand firmly in the truth of one's ancestry, to honor those who built this country with their blood, sweat, and tears. This identity is rooted in pride, love, and legacy. The distinct cultural contributions of Dask, from Negro spiritual to the civil rights movement that reshapes the nation, to the artistic music and innovative that continues to define American culture. We recognize that Black people and African people face the same oppressor, global white supremacy. The Pacific struggles and contribution of DAS within the United States must not be undermined, erased, or exploited, whether intentionally or unintentionally by anyone, including other melanated people who look just like us but is not from our lineage. This sense is not about division, it's about protecting and preserving the legacy of a people whose sacrifice and achievements are often unacknowledged. It is about ensuring that the voices of DAS remain is represented by people from our lineage on the decision panel and centered in conversation about reparations and equality in the United States. It about standing with conviction, honoring legacy, and ensuring that this proud lineage is never overshadowed or forgotten. A brother by the name Tariq Nasheed started the delineation movement known as FBA, Foundational Black America. For me, that's a sanitized term, meaning it's not looked down upon as the term, quote, slave is replaced. Truth be told, the foundation of America is anti Black racism, which occurred before the U.S. Constitution of the United States was written. Nevertheless, at the end of the day, FBA and DAS are the same. Both terms acknowledge ancestral lineage. He also came up with the term tether, which refers to a few African immigrants and Afro Caribbean immigrants who relocate to America for economic opportunities using the benefits of Black American civil rights struggle while talking down on Black American culture, history, lineage, or trying to undermine our political and social progress. And that's not cool at all. And so, yeah, it is what it is. Those kind of people I don't want in my business as well. If they're going to be talking, ill. There's another group called ADOS, which stands for American Descendants of Slavery, and is a term referring to descendants of enslaved Africans in the New World, which became the United States. Its founders are Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. I was interested in trying to get Antonio Moore to come on my platform so that he can discuss his organization and also to see if we could form an alliance since we both talk about the wealth gap between blacks and whites in America. He started acting funny style with me, not returning my emails, and then I started looking into ADOS. Come to find out, they stole the idea and rearranged the name of their organization from a brother by the name of Norris Shelton, founder of the term descendants of American slaves. ADOS is also a front for the Democrats. Pan Africanism encouraged Black Americans to focus on Africa rather than organizing politically for economic tangibles for Black politicians. Many African nations do not have the power to assist descendants of American slaves over there. That's why Pan Africanism is looking at as an ideological movement rather than an actual movement with real power. Pan African ideology revolve around concepts like repatriating back to Africa and forming Black utopia, which is unrealistic due to the fact that not all 40 million Black Americans can up and relocate to Africa because of finances and cultural barriers. This is why the grassroots community activist movement is going to take the lead in connecting like minded African immigrants within the United States of America who are on business and that is willing to form an alliance with us, um, like minded Black Americans, so that we can learn about each other, culture, build business relationships, and heal collectively from the scars of slavery. For Black Americans to heal pacifically from that slave mentality, and for African immigrants to heal pacifically from that colonized mindset. Because we've been apart from each other 400 years due to the Atlantic slave trade. I want us to do all that stuff to heal and learn how to get along with each other. So that way we can be a strong team. So that way, when we expand um, the business to South Africa, that would be a beautiful thing. So we could replicate it across the other 9 African nations once we're established in South Africa. On the other hand, they have been talking this Pan Africanism since the 1920s and nothing has changed. It's a great ideology, but it's not practical. Truth be told, it's just cultural festivals and non threatening academic discussions. Over here, we're about educating our members about how to obtain real political leverage without all the marching and protesting. When we start talking about our lineage, descendants of American slaves, that ties to the United States of America, and that's a problem because it's centered on our unique historical legal claim toward the US government. That's a direct challenge. Whereas Pan Africanism is dispersed across multiple African nations. The white supremacist financial elites use immigration to delude Black Americans from obtaining political power. In contrast, what is the grassroots community activist movement? I created GRCAM, the grassroots community activist movement, back in 1991 on a site called Gopher to help raise awareness about the genocide, both physical and political genocide taking place within our inner cities in America, in order to connect with other like minded individuals who share my vision to form a legitimate coalition across the United States and eventually around the globe for for our cause help stop the genocide in American ghettos. Urban violence is a moral issue, just like American slavery and lynching was. Mega corporations want to control the internet and silence inspired voices. GRCAM is a body of believers committed to the cause of Christ and willing to serve in this day and age. We believe and support the concept of family as described in my revised book, which is the foundation of my Christian business. Our focus is on strengthening the Black family, the African family with the emphasis on marriage defined by God as the, the, the uniting of one man with one woman. We, we welcome secular people, African people, as long as they respect our beliefs and abide by our rules and regulations. We are the voice of the voiceless, spiritual concepts of GRCAM to educate Black people, African immigrants, Afro Caribbeans, Afro Brazilians, continental Africans, and others who are serious about solving Black issues in America, on the continent, and throughout the diaspora, as well as to raise funds for our film project. We're using a spiritual perspective about solving these social issues in this day and age. GRCAM is much more than me trying to sell a book. Items on my virtual store, we're offering an experience. The Grassroots Community Activist Movement is an interactive virtual Christian socialist organization using my Christian groups and secular groups to network with my members worldwide. GRCAM is about real kingdom building, global Black unity, and Black economic empowerment in order to solve social problems within the African American community, the African immigrant community, and throughout the diaspora. And we're going to promote a kingdom economy through this business. That's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. GRCAM is a virtual Christian socialist organization. For me, Christian socialism is an authentic form of Christianity. It is based on the teachings of Jesus/Joshua. We believe that capitalism is idolatrous, rooted in greed, social inequality, and institutionalized racism, which for most Christian denominations consider a moral sin. We focus on what we stand for: love, compassion, social justice, and liberation theology. Jesus told us to focus on the least of these in society, according to Matthew chapter 25, verse 35 through 40. He also commanded us to be a witness to others, not just for us to read his word, but to activate social change in the world, according to Matthew chapter 28, verse 16 through 20. We will be committed to the healing ministry of Jesus by showing compassion to inner city youth and their families, which will promote dignity to the people and community we serve. We will promote an authentic form of Christianity, and again, for me, that's Christian socialism. We focus on, we emphasize the importance of morals and character development for both Christians and non-Christians. We will also focus on strengthening the Black family while improving the African American community by focusing on solving Black issues on a domestic front and also on an international front. We will focus on economics, education, strengthening the Black family, religion, entertainment, job creation, media, and politics. The only thing which is preventing me from turning my virtual Christian socialist organization into a real business is the lack of manpower in the capital. This is why I wrote and published my revised book, why I created my virtual store, and now why I created this platform. Promote my YouTube videos, my online groups, my blog posting, and now my future docudrama. GRCAM members have to build GRCAI of Chicago in America first for credibility before we expand the business to 10 African nations. Our community historically has been socially, economically disenfranchised intentionally by the white supremacist financial elites. GRCAM is a Black grassroots global initiative intended to unite Black Americans and like-minded African immigrants in the United States as well as throughout the diaspora. We aim to mobilize GRCAM members worldwide to support our film project so that we can move from behind the computer and make our presence known in Chicago within the African American community starting on the west side of Chicago. We will serve Austin, Garfield Park, and North Lawndale, then eventually expand to the south side of Chicago. Our goal is to make Chicago a model city in America. We will compete against Pan-Africanism in order to win the hearts and minds of Black America and Africans worldwide. Don't get me wrong, Marcus Garvey was a great leader, and I agree with what he said that Black people should leave America and reclaim our ancestral homeland, Africa. But problem with Marcus Garvey, he never went to Africa. Instead, he went to Europe and ended up uh, dying over there. He accepted blood money from the Ku Klux Klan. So I have a little issue with that too. He also left God out of his organization. Pan Africanism has been out for 160 years, and we as Black people are still facing the same issues our grandparents faced during the Civil Rights era. A few of my associates who relocated to Africa told me that majority of businesses in Africa are owned by non-Africans. Arabs, Asians, East Indians, and Europeans own and control a majority of businesses over there. I want to establish my Christian business in America first for credibility. My business will be membership based. My revised book, again, is the foundation of my business. Um, Once we get this film project fully funded and made, then I will be in a better position financially to purchase property in Chicago, hire qualified Black middle class professionals, and qualified African immigrants. I am called by my Lord and Savior Jesus slash Yahshua to build the best African American business within the United States of America, and that is the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of Chicago. Similar to that of Nehemiah, who was called by God to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem. Nehemiah used qualified engineers, architects, and inventors to rebuild a new city. We are seeking qualified Black middle class professionals and African immigrants in the following areas: Black attorneys, African attorneys, investors, business partners, Black entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs, and philanthropists. We're also looking for legitimate artists such as film directors, producers, actors, stage managers, professional fundraisers, technical directors, and marketers from across the United States of America. So hear me loud, you all. The Chi of Chicago will offer an interactive space for Black Americans, African immigrants, Afro Caribbeans, Afro Latinos, um, Afro Caribbeans, all Christian denominations, Black millennials, and Generation Z. Non-Black sympathizers are welcome to join us, not as group, but as individuals, depending on where they stand as it pertains to lineage-based cash payment reparations for descendants of American slaves. The Chi of Chicago will have our support systems in place to help strengthen the Black family and provide quality programs and services to benefit both the African American community and the African immigrant community. It's my hope that Cacao of Chicago will become a multi-million dollar business and become a national and international franchise, just like McDonald's, just like Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon. He started off with his company online and then he leaped into the supermarket industry, buying Whole Foods Market, created Amazon fulfillment centers beyond cyberspace. If only I had the same support from the African American community, and African immigrant community. Imagine where Africa would be today, as well as our inner cities. GRCAM mission or GRCAI mission is to eradicate urban violence in Chicago through art, culture, commerce, spiritual development, and hosting African and Caribbean tours. We will promote economic opportunities in the African American community and the African immigrant community by being an advocate and economic base. We will offer different membership level, basic membership, networking membership, and entrepreneur membership. The Kai Chicago will be a multi-purpose facility consisting of a nonprofit portion and a for-profit business. Under the for-profit business, this is where I will make my bread and butter. We will own and control our own community grocery store, community health care clinic, and community housing because everyone needs food and shelter. We will be we will practice group economics. We will offer associate degree programs and vocational training for our members and students. Our curriculum will offer technical knowledge and creativity taught by industry experienced professionals. We will offer degrees in animation, auto production, business, music production, digital filmmaking, graphic design, music production, writing for film and TV, journalism, filmmaking, and writing to be our top courses. Storytelling is the backbone of our culture. Storytelling makes us human. We will offer stipends to Black youth, African youth, and others who participate in our Black empowerment films so that they can feed their families and heal our cities. This is my contribution back to the community. We believe access to multimedia experience will bring community residents together. It's also important for us to have community residents involved with what we're trying to do because, after all, it's for them and their children. We will offer state of the art recreational center, which will have bowling, high ropes adventures, captivating game rooms featuring the latest video and amusement, stylish um, billboards, energetic dance rooms, and quality restaurants, various businesses, on site childcare, and on site music recording studio for our members and students making documentary films and stage plays. In addition, we will host family friendly activities, including combination deals, birthday parties, weddings, and corporate parties and events. We will offer rental space to our members who have startup business and who have gone through our business classes. GRCAM Chicago's main objective is to strengthen the Black family and African families by investing in the African American community, starting on the west side of Chicago. We will invest in our youth by focusing on mentorships, leaderships, and professional development, college readiness, workforce development, and skill building. Under the nonprofit portion of the business, this will be known as the Green Zone. GRCAI of Chicago will be governed by an advisory board. GRCAI of Chicago will be membership based and operate for the mutual benefit of our members. Also, any earnings we make are returned to our members in the forms of lower price through our quality programs and services. We will assist our members with their utility bills depending on our budget and sponsorship. We will offer light groceries through our food pantry and tutoring services for Black youth and African youth. GRCAI Chicago will help benefit Africa because we will form an alliance with African immigrants that's already here in America. In each African nation that we visit, we will match Black entrepreneurs with African entrepreneurs, Black artists with African artists, so that we can do international trade among our people. We also plan on setting up local chapters in each African nation that we visit. The Kai of Africa will try to meet the social needs of Africa youth by providing jobs so that they can feed their families. We want both African Americans African artists and African artists who are comedians, fashion designers, filmmakers, models, musicians, poets, gospel singers, spiritual leaders, as well as Black entrepreneurs and African entrepreneurs within the business. My vision for Africa to reconnect with our ancestral homeland. We will go through the proper channels with each African government to start the kind of South Africa, the Grassroots Community Activist Institute of South Africa. We will offer employment to our members and students based on our budget and sponsorship. We will focus on improving Africa's infrastructure for clean running water, agricultural technology to feed the people, offer solar panels to help with their electrical generators, and most of all, help improve the African economy in exchange for dual citizenship from Black Americans who are GRCAM members. GRCAM of Chicago will promote Black economic empowerment on a domestic front and also on an international front. We will bring the best of the diaspora to each African nation so that we can set up local chapters and do international trade. We will, okay, we will hold mandatory orientation for local residents. Everyone must pass our criminal background check, sign the community pledge, and submit their thumbprint to be placed in our database in order for us to weed out people that mean us no good. Guy of Chicago will raise the bar in Black America. There will be protocol put in place to separate ourselves from con artists, Black bootleg, degenerates, Democrat shields, hardened criminals, pedophiles, off-code Negroes, and urban terrorists. All of the principles in my revised book is the code for GRCAM members. Those who are not part of us, we will pray for them, show them tough love, and keep it moving. I do not operate like the next Black man. I have my own style of doing things. Anyone who tries to undermine our business will get 2 warnings. For example, if someone joins our business and then try to promote LGBT agenda, we will give that person 2 warnings. The third time, that person or persons will have their name, photo ID, and address placed on a Judas list for everyone to see, and they will be barred for life. This is how I get down. Anyone tries to steal funds from the business, we will also place them on the Judas list, and we will take them to federal court. If we catch any con artists in the business, we'll put them on blast and put them on the Judas list. In this business, we're M1, meaning we're melanated first. Our focus is on solving Black issues point blank. Nothing else in the world matters. I will never forget where I came from or who I'm fighting for. Let's make change happen together. I don't want to be doing this and just be running off at the mouth. You know what I'm saying? I call upon Black content creators and African content creators who have a large following. Please allow me to come on your podcast or on your show so I can promote my revised book and my film project to your audience. I call upon filmmakers. I call upon Black filmmakers and African filmmakers within the United States of America. Please stand up, make yourself known to me first by purchasing my revised book. And if you agree with my vision and plan, make yourself known and be a part of this so that way that can help speed up the process. I don't want to be doing this another 33 years. I call upon Black millennials and Generation Z to read my revised book. After all, this business is for you and your generation. I want to be able to hire you, but I want to be in a position to do that. Help me turn my vision into a reality. After all, this business is my gift to you and your families. The sooner we get this business popping in Chicago, the sooner I can turn the business over and expand it to South Africa. I call upon my international friends in my African group, Kakai of Africa. I understand you all are living from hand to mouth. Corruption, is taking place from, the leadership. You don't have to purchase the book. Instead, put me on blast. by sharing my audio podcast and my video podcasts, and leave a public comment about it on my YouTube page. This will help get the ball rolling. Call upon my Christian group, Light of the World Inspirational Group, and Christian Spoken Word Network. I need your help. Please purchase my revised book and read my story for yourself. If you agree with my vision and plan to help improve Black America, then make arrangements with me to come on this platform, get on camera, and let's talk about it. And let's encourage others to back up the film. Even if you're unable to participate in these events, please listen to the replay, leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast on my YouTube page. Share with your friends on all social sites that you're on. This will help get the ball rolling. Please leave a public comment about the topic in the comment section below this audio podcast and share with your friends on all social media sites you are on. This will help get the ball rolling. However, you may disagree with what I've said. Therefore, we're going to open up the Zoom lines. You have the opportunity to voice your opinion here. Again, I want to make sure that first that my panel, if they're available, for them to step up and get on here and for them to share their thoughts. And then once they're finished, then I will open up the Zoom line for my listeners to get on here and for us to talk about it. Thank you all for listening. We appreciate it. Put me on blast again by telling all of your friends to listen to our content on our YouTube page. I'm going to send a challenge out to everybody that's listening to this audio podcast. I need all of you to support our film project so that we can move from behind a computer and make our presence known on the big screen, and then eventually in the African American community and the African immigrant community. That would be great. And I want the whole Black world to know what we're trying to do for our people that's trapped in American ghettos, specifically in Chicago. Quote, Hood Liberator made in Chicago, the war against Willie Lynch begins, unquote. You can be a part of this historic docudrama by contributing to our campaign either on our GoFundMe page or on our PayPal Giving Fund page, which will help fund marketing, promotion, clearance, legal, and general expenses. I would like to thank everyone who have contributed or will contribute to support our film project on our GoFundMe page, or if you're a U.S. citizen, then I recommend that you use our PayPal Giving Fund page as a tax write-off, because this is a legitimate 501c3 nonprofit, faith-based, and community advocacy organization. You can also purchase items from our virtual store or purchase my revised book. The ebook is $9.99. The paperback is $15 plus shipping and handling. We appreciate your support. You can find all of the links below this audio podcast in the comments section. Thank you all for listening to our YouTube live or the replay. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing. I want to thank all of you for listening to our audio podcast on Spotify. And if that's the case, all you do is click on that YouTube icon, and that's going to take you to my YouTube page. So that way, if you do that, you look at the comment section, so that way you can find all the links that I mentioned. So I appreciate all of that. And thank you all for listening. And again, those of you that's brave enough and smart enough, make yourself known to me. Don't wait until I am dead. Work with me while I am alive. And I promise you will go down in history with me and Sister Renee, because you're going to be part of our film project. That's very important. That's the next step. And I'm not trying to make a flop. I want to make a quality film. a film that's going to be authentic, a film that's going to be made here in Chicago, but we got to raise the funds first. Okay. Thank you all again. And like I say, I'm waiting around for about 15 minutes. And if I don't hear from anyone in terms of people on the panel or from my listeners to call in, then, we'll call it a day. But I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing my best. I pray that through the power of God, He will connect me with the right people that have the means to support this film project so I can do my job and help my people that want more out of life. But GRCAM members, because those that want to sit up here and take me for joke and, that's confused and, you know, um, off code and stuff, we just gonna just love them afar. But they can't be part of us. I can't build with somebody that's, don't have no ambitions in life and that's full of corruption.